So for Blake, this was kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of situation. Why doesn't she want this to be public? What is she hiding?
Yeah, we've lost some talk.
Hi and welcome to Flow Some Talk. I'm Justin Flo and here on my channel, you know what I talk about. I am in my brother's greenhouse. I'm in Norway. I arrived here on Monday and I've been in Oslo since, and I will be here until Monday. So from Tuesday on, I will keep having you, keep making updates daily for you guys from my location in Spain. So I just wanted to jump on her and talk about a few things that has happened that have kind of caught my attention since I left. So on Friday, there was a filing from Justin Baldoni's legal team because they wanted to quash the subpoena on their legal offices from Blake Lively's team. As you know, Blake Lively is accusing Justin Baldoni's legal or lawyer for being a PR agent as well as an attorney. And the judge actually denied her that. And to quash the subpoena, Justin Baldoni's legal team added some information to say, hey, we're not part of this smear campaign. And Blake Lively actually admitted herself that the only smear campaign that's been going on lately is the one basically with Justin Baldoni defending himself against her claims. So in this filing, Baldoni's team added something from Blake Lively's deposition. And they also added 392 pages, I think it was, from her entire transcript from the deposition that happened on July 31st. As you know, Brian Friedman deposed her in New York with Justin Baldoni present, Steve Sarowitz was present, also Melissa Nathan was in the room, and Jennifer Abel was in the room, and Jamie Heath was in the room. So Blake Lively had to face all these people while she answered questions under oath. Now, Blake Lively's team is accusing Justin Baldoni's team of leaking this deposition, although it was sealed so we couldn't see what was in it because they attached it to this document that ended up in the docket, and they want it to disappear from the docket. The first thing I was thinking was, why would you want that to disappear if that is your sworn statement of what really happened? Don't you want what really happened to be out there so people can actually see and hear your own words to explain what really happened on that set that traumatized you so much? But Blake Lively's lawyers are saying, we don't want this information out there because, you know, the media, they can take little snippets and cherry pick little things here and there and create a new narrative, exactly what Blake Lively did to the New York Times. So they know how that works. So they don't want this deposition to be on the docket. Although at one point we're all going to see that deposition anyway if it goes to court. But right now, Blake Lively doesn't want her truth to be out there. I don't know, I just find this so hard to kind of fathom the way that this logic from Blake Lively's team works sometimes. So the media has spun this to be a victory for Blake Lively. I don't understand how this is really a victory. So what happened was that Judge Lyman actually agreed with Blake Lively's team, oh, surprise, surprise, that this deposition should be struck from the docket, so it disappeared, so we can't see it. We couldn't read it anyways because it was already sealed, but they didn't want it to be in the docket at all, and the judge agreed, so they removed it. And Deadline had the headline saying Blake Lively gets deposition cut from court docket as Judge Twux Baldoni's lawyers serve their own public relation purposes. So again, they're accusing Justin Baldoni's team of using this as a PR tactic, which I think is kind of true because they wanted us to start thinking, you know, why doesn't she want this to be public? What is she hiding? Which is exactly what we're thinking. So what is she hiding? I don't know. This whole thing is so ridiculous. And what they're doing, continuously doing, is accusing them of this PR tactic. And this is all for PR spin. Well, this whole lawsuit is for PR purposes to get Blake Lively's reputation back on track. So I don't understand how this whole thing is a PR spin from their perspective, because this is mainly all about PR anyways. I think that when Brian Friedman filed this letter, like this opposition for the subpoena, I think that he knew that there was a big risk that the judge would strike this or strike this whole deposition from the docket, because he knows how the judge is going to rule. Like, the chances that he's ruling in Blake Lively's favor, that's quite a big chance at this point. So of course they knew that this was a risk. And of course, they had some strategy behind it. And I think they achieved exactly what they wanted to achieve here, saying that, why doesn't she want any of this to be public? If it's all true, why? So for Blake, this was kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of situation. Because if her team didn't fight to seal this, it could have, come out and things could have been taken out of context. Of course, all of us would have just jumped over it and tried to read through everything and find little bits and pieces here and there that we can talk about, because that happens a lot. And the media does the same thing. Where's the headline here? And of course, they don't want that to happen. And if they did fight it and didn't want it to go public and didn't want all of this information to be public, then it looks like she's hiding something. So I think this was quite a clever move from Justin Baldoni's team, and I think they know exactly what they're doing here. Blake Lively's team also accused them of leaking information from the deposition. I couldn't really find out what exactly they're accused of leaking. I think they're accused of leaking her outfit, which I think I remember it was like a black jeans and a blue cardigan or something like that. And they also were accused of leaking how many lawyers she brought, and also who was in the room with her or who came with her, Ryan Reynolds and her sister. But this information could come from anyone. Anyone who was in that building could have leaked this information, which is not really any revealing information, that she was wearing black jeans at the deposition, but whatever. Also, there's been a lot of drama around Perez Hilton, you guys. He has been filling up the docket with letters to the judge. So Perez Hilton, as you know, was subpoenaed amongst other creators or journalist influencers. Him and Candace Owens and Andy Signor from Popcorn Planet received the same subpoena, where Blake Lively wants more information than they did from the Google subpoenas. From the Google subpoenas, that included me as well, they wanted the YouTube information. They wanted IP addresses, credit cards, bank info. Not that that's not a lot, but from Perez Hilton and Candace and Andy, they also want all email correspondence, text messages, all communication, and they want to prove that they were paid by Justin Baldoni's team. I think it's so ridiculous to accuse someone like Perez Hilton, and especially Candace Owens. She's so rich. Why would she accept any money from Justin Baldoni's team? It's so dumb. Anyways, so what Perez Hilton did, he thought, it's clever for me to actually fight the subpoena in Nevada, which makes it more difficult for Blake Lively's team, which was, I think, a smart thing. I don't know about these things too much, but I think, okay, that's clever. Andy did the same thing. He filed his motion to quash the subpoena in Florida. But what happened after that was that Perez actually asked the judge for a protective order, and he did that in the court of New York. And now Blake Lively's team is saying, because you did that in New York, then you have to continue with this jurisdiction in New York. And now the judge is saying to Perez Hilton that you have to fight this against Blake Lively by August 13th. Otherwise, you have to fight this subpoena, the motion to quash the subpoena in New York court. Also, what could happen is that the judge in Nevada says, I don't want a part of this. He can just transfer the case to New York. So I don't think this is going to be easy breezy for Perez Hilton. And now he has really pissed off the judge, because he has sent some letters to the judge that he uses his own Perez Hilton language, which a lot of people think don't really belong in court, and so does the judge. So he has told him off. If you've seen any of Perez Hilton's videos, you've seen that he's been calling Blake Lively a lot of names, and he continued to do that in his court filings. And the judge think it's disrespectful. And so does a lot of other content creators. There's a lot of drama going on right now, you guys. I've been looking at some of the other content creators or journalists' videos, and people are criticizing him for doing that. As he is saying, he's getting a lot of headlines from this, and that's what he wants. So I don't know. He's being himself, but I think some of this could actually backfire on him, because now Blake Lively's team is saying, look, he's not a journalist. He is a influencer, or he is a gossip blogger. And in a sense, you know, because Perez Hilton has been giving Blake Lively a lot of names, he's been calling her a lot of horrible names. And I think if you want to be treated as a journalist, that's not a good look. And also when he presents himself, he calls himself the original influencer. So I think all of these things that he's been doing and saying on his channel, on his platform, could be used against him. And that's what they're trying to do now, because they want to take away his journalistic privilege. Because if they take that away, he can't fight that in court as a journalist, and they might be able to give him this subpoena. He might have to compel. He might have to give her all this information. Bottom line of that is that if he does, they're not going to find anything anyways. I don't think necessarily it's a good thing, though, that he has pissed off the judge, because he is going to rule on his motion to quash. So that's probably not a good start for that relationship there. And as you know, Blake Lively has a tendency of getting her will from this judge, something that also Perez Hilton pointed out to the judge himself, that he thinks he's biased. So yes, I will be following this drama closely when I get back to Spain, as you know. And I'm sure I missed something here. A lot of other stuff has been going on as well, and I will talk about all of it. I will really do deep dives when I get back into this. So thank you again for supporting my channel and for jumping on to see this little video from Norway. I should have showed you more of Norway. Anyways, you guys, thank you so much for watching and for all your support, and subscribe if you haven't, and push the notification bell so you don't miss an episode of Blossom Talk. And I'll be back in my studio, as I said, on Tuesday. So I see you again then. Bye.
Yeah, we Blossom Talk.